All right, welcome back to the morning show. Drum rolls this morning. Joining us now to review headlines of today's newspaper from around the world is Arise news analyst himself, the greatest of the greatest of the greatest Malabites. Emmanuel Efeni is back.
Yay! And back in grand style,
yes,
figuratively and literally.
This your
suit and tie and pocket square is definitely a day for the first day.
I am back and I'm happy to be back.
Hey.
Good morning, Rufai. Good morning, Ayo Myro Essie.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning to all our viewers around the world. Rufai, I've been inundated throughout my life. Where's Rufai? Greet Rufai for me. Oh, I like Rufai. Hey, Rufai. Well, I was just taking all the accolades as well. I said, okay, yeah.
Yes,
of course.
As my
good morning to all our viewers from all around the world. We'll start the review with this day. Yes, easily Nigeria's most influential paper, the newspaper of record. Now, the lead story, PDP heads to NJC over appeal verdict. Ousting Plateau lawmakers. Injustice inflicted on Plateau, irreversible, says Zekome. Other senior lawyers say state government can approach Supreme Court to set aside judgment. Yes, of course, the Supreme Court delivered all the outstanding petition that got to the Supreme Court at the governorship level on Friday. But of course, that of Plateau, where Governor Mofwang was returned to the victory he won at the polls, yes, has been sticking out like a sore thumb. And of course, lawyers have been speaking. Owonikoko was here. The same set of facts and pleadings used to remove the lawmakers at the state level and at the national level of the PDP, the same set of pleadings was what the Supreme Court not only upturned, but in fact tongue-lashed the justices at the appeal court level that delivered that judgment. So, well, Owonikoko has told us, and I don't think I can add to that, that there is a window out for those lawmakers to get their seat back if the governor or the PDP in Plateau State do the needful and approach the Supreme Court for intervention, that there's a miscarriage of justice there. Well, if I was the chairman of the PDP, I would just put a call to Owonikoko, please, come over, and let's see how we can pursue this to a logical conclusion. But the more worrisome aspect of this judgment is that the appeal court level is gaining, I don't want to say notoriety, but a name that should not befit judges who you expect, like Caesar's wife, should always live above board. Many years ago, this day lawyer published an interview with Justice Salami, then the president of the Court of Appeal, and he made a statement: election cases, I don't just give it to any judge, I give it to those I trust. And of course, it raised dust, and eventually had to leave that position. Yes, some will claim, oh, it was the other political party. But we know that statement itself carried a lot of weight. I only give election cases to judges I trust. What does that mean? Many years ago. Now, not too long ago, the husband of Justice Bokashoa, the husband stood on the floor of the Senate to say, yes, many of you approached me to talk to my wife to help you, and I help you. Until today, nobody has been brought to book. Nobody has investigated that further. And now this. So whether the justices there deliver that judgment, some will say induced, or out of ignorance of the law, then there is something at that level that must be properly investigated, and the NJC should save the judiciary. Because there's been this clamor that, oh, not all cases should get to the Supreme Court. You overburden the Supreme Court. But here we have a case that stopped at the Court of Appeal, and there's this kind of glaring miscarriage of justice. Of course, let's move over to other newspapers. The Nation newspaper also reporting this story. Supreme Court verdicts, APC didn't trade off Kanu, Plateau. It's purely a legal matter. Victorious governors hail Tinubu's non-interference. That's another sickening comment coming from governors who got favorable verdict on Friday, thanking the president. Is the president the head of the judiciary? They should know that there's separation of powers, and the Supreme Court is the peak of the judicial arm of government. And the executive arm of government does not interfere into what, or so it should be, I should say, in what goes on at the Supreme Court. And this governor is trying to tell us that there's something we don't know, thanking the president. For what? Also, the Nigerian Tribune newspaper reporting this story. Yes, aftermath of Supreme Court judgment, PDP, that's Nigerian Tribune, a newspaper, PDP, APC set to clash in Plateau. Now, if we look, let's look at other stories quickly. Now, the Daily Trust newspaper, bandits hold 5 sisters. After killing one in Abuja, demand 100 million naira. Pantami's friends raises 50 million naira. 4 other captives killed in Kaduna. Ilorin Union urges federal government to rescue abductors. We have intensified rescue operations police. Of course, Abuja Inquirer also has this story. Abuja Inquirer, the paper of the city of Abuja, anger in Abuja. Netizens race to raise 100 million naira ransom. Atiku wants security reject. Of course, this is a sad story. We are talking of the Federal Capital Territory. People around there are not safe. Where kidnappers can just walk into an estate, pick as many people as they can take away, and they start asking for ransom. They gave a deadline that 100, initially it was 60 million, they raised it to 100 million, must be paid before January 12th. On that day, they killed one of the sisters. What a sad story. And we have security agencies. They cannot track their call. They cannot pursue them. It is a problem. So I hope we're not waiting for the other sisters to be killed. Then security agent chiefs will lead condolence visits.
We know how to condole.
Like they did in that Plateau. It was scandalous. I was on vacation.
No, we know how to condole.
That optics was scandalous. Security chiefs paying condolence visits without arresting one of those bandits.
And they will say it's the devil.
And still,
you say it's devilish.
What? No arrest made.
No arrest.
Well, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu should know that there's huge insecurity in the land. And a government that cannot secure the lives and property of its people, of course, then we don't have a government. And the National Security Advisor and the service chiefs, from the army to police to Air Force, if they cannot rescue these people, then what are we talking about? Now, netizens, those who are trying to do crowdfunding, Rufa, I don't blame them.
No,
they only try to help because it's like the family has been abandoned by governments.
I told myself to shut up on air because of that. I don't blame them.
I said everyone has become self-governing. So even if you have to take matters into your own hands to ensure that those girls are not killed.
No, let's just move over to other stories. The Guardian newspaper: 10 trillion legacy industries rot away amid low earnings, unemployment. Talking about the Southeast states. Well, Lagos realized 651.15 billion in earnings in 2022. The 5 Southeast states generated 114.5 billion. That's just about 35 eastern states raising as just 1/3 or less than 1/3 of what Lagos raised. They need to deal with all the industries, those established by Premier Okpara in the First Republic. Many of them are rotting away. So the Southeast governors, they need to do something to revive those industries. Now, the foreign newspapers, quickly, we'll just take 2. Now, the Daily Telegraph newspaper: Tories facing 1997-style wipe out. Most extensive election poll in 5 years predict that party will retain 169 seats. That's the Tories. 11 cabinet ministers forecast to be ousted in the biggest collapse since 1906. Rishi Sunak will just lead the Tories
to the slaughter slab.
To the slaughter slab.
They're going to be slaughtered,
yes.
Yeah, well.
And of course, the Washington Post, just one story there.
Right.
Casualty count in Gaza is still high. That's Anthony Blinken, the U.S. Secretary of State, making that statement after his tour of the Middle East. And of course, still trying to put pressure on Israel. But I don't believe the kind of pressure. It's like the pressure and tap Israel on the back. Carry on.
Well, thank you so much, Mr. Efeni. Unfortunately, we cannot discuss further, but you've done justice to the details of the story this morning. Look forward to seeing you again tomorrow morning.
I am back.
Yes, you're back. Welcome back.